Hello, everyone, and welcome to another segment of Booming Encore's Best for Boomers. My name is Susan Williams, and I'm the founder of Booming Encore, and I'm delighted to be joined again by Mike Drak. Mike is the author of Victory Lap Retirement and also Retirement Heaven or Hell, which will you choose? And today we thought we would talk about some of our favorite foods. So, Mike, I'm going to hand it over to you. But before I start, I don't even know what you're going to say. So I'm just going to tell everybody we are not nutritionists or registered dietitians. So before you start consuming any of these foods, please make sure that it's safe to do so. Okay, so with that caveat in place, Mike, what's one of your favorite foods?
You have me tearing up saying that. But listen, to be honest, during the pandemic, we're kind of losing our minds here and we're watching more TV than usual. And I've got into the habit of watching some of these food shows. The one Beat Bobby Flay, and one of my favorites is Lydia of Italy. And we're watching that religiously, and we're getting all kinds of great food ideas. I don't know if it's the most healthy food, but it's comfort food and it tastes good. And that's what I'm looking for right now during the pandemic. So my first choice for favorite foods is pork chops.
Pork
Simple
chop.
pork chops. I watched her cook them on TV. I almost lost my mind. I could almost taste them when I saw her cooking them. And they're so simple to make, and they're not that expensive, unlike like steak or things like that. But it's the way of making it, of putting the right juice in there. I love mushrooms. I love mushroom gravy, and I love serving it over a bed of rice. To die for a dish like that, and it's so simple.
Yeah, pork chops is one of those, like you said, comfort foods, because I think a lot of us were raised on it. Like, remember the Bobby Brady pork chops and applesauce?
It must be in my blood.
Yeah, so but the thing is that like, I agree with you. I think these cooking shows have taken some of what our old staples are and really elevated it to, like an elegant food now. So it's even moved beyond the comfort and almost into elegance,
No,
and
you're
you
right.
really enjoy it rather than no offense to my mother, but some of her pork chops were pretty dry.
But I'll tell you something about pork chops is you have to use a lot of onion. And then at the end of the meal, you get that hunk of rye bread out and you just rub it in the bottom of a frying pan. And I tell you, you can't beat that. I don't care what people say. I don't care if it's not good for you. It tastes so good and it will get you through a pandemic. I'm telling you.
Okay, well, that's an interesting first choice because I think I have a feeling that we're going to be doing a slightly different bent from my perspective because quickly at the beginning of the pandemic, I realized I was eating a lot of those comfort foods, and so the COVID-19 was quickly becoming 19 pounds. Um, so I really wanted to start this year kind of eating better and focusing on my health, and that was one of the things that I committed to when we did our best of Boomers resolutions. So with that in mind, one of the things that I'm really starting to embrace is nuts. So I'm actually going nuts for nuts. And in actual fact, Harvard study or Harvard research has actually found that people who ate nuts every day lived longer, healthier lives than people who didn't eat nuts. So there's a lot of value in these nuts, and I don't think we're giving them nearly enough credit. A word of warning, though, these things are very high in calories and do have quite a bit of good fat, but they're still fatty. So, I mean, you really have to watch what nuts you're choosing. I'm kind of leaning more towards the almonds and the walnuts and even the natural peanut butter. But you just have to make sure that you're getting the stuff that's all natural. It's not got a whole bunch of things added to it. So I think those sugared peanuts, for instance, that we might all love, may not classify as the type of nuts we should be eating. But anyways, that's one of my go-to foods these days when I feel a real pang of hunger and I need something to kind of carry me over and give me a bit of a jolt of energy. So nuts is what I'm going with for my first one. Okay, how about your second one, Mike?
No, I just want to say that's a great choice because we're doing the same thing. In addition to the pork chops, we're eating a lot of nuts, and we have like four varieties, so we keep rotating them so we don't get bored. But no, that was a great selection.
Oh,
My
thanks.
second one is chicken parmigiana, and I watched them cook it on Lydia, and I said, "Hey, this is so simple." And it's one of the top comfort foods. That, along with a little pasta, I like spaghetti myself. And I use my mother-in-law's homemade sauce for it. And the only thing you have to watch out for is not to add additional salt when you're preparing the boneless chicken, because the cheese has enough salt in it to
Mhm.
flavor the dish. So I learned that the hard way. Stay away from that. I still ate the dish even though it tasted salty. but oh, it's so simple to make. You do it in the oven, you bake it up, and you put mushrooms, of course, on top. I love mushrooms, and I tell you, it's to die for. So yeah, it's one of my top comfort foods.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is one of my favorites too. But again, because I'm focused on what I'm eating, I'm kind of not eating that much of it. But that one's not so bad. I mean, you got the chicken, you got the cheese, you got the tomato sauce. It's the breading that probably maybe, and then the frying of the chicken might not be so great. But actually, I think I found a baked one that actually worked out pretty well, and it wasn't that bad for you. So again, great choice. Love that food. But I'm gonna go in another direction on it. I'm going actually into the spice world. I wrote a post about this a while back on things to help us, age well. And I really think spices are totally unrecognized as being great sources to help us live healthy. For instance, like turmeric, it can help reduce inflammation, or ginger aids in digestion and helps aid with nausea and also inflammation. And even cinnamon can help lower or reduce blood sugar levels. So I really think there's a ton of spices out there, and I can't remember who actually said it, but let food be thy medicine or something along those lines. And I think there's a lot of spices that are actually good for us, and we don't even know that they are. So I strongly suggest that people get on the internet and see what spices are possibly good. Again, from reputable sources, of course. But I think there's lots of things that we could be adding to our food that would add flavor and add interest and really also be good for us. And I think we're really under evaluating the value of some of these spices.
No, I totally agree with you. And it's funny. We're doing the same thing here. We're looking at the different spices and adding them into different dishes, and even the salt. We've converted over to sea salt, and there's different types of sea salt too that we're learning about. So no, I totally agree with you. And this, we're thinking long term, and these things add value to us health wise over time, and they're important to look into. So, no, you're totally correct, as usual, Susan.
Sorry, I'm taking a bit of the high road here, but anyhow.
But
Okay,
now
well,
I'm on to
take
my
us,
third dish.
take us on your third food choice, please.
I was a big fan of the Iron Chef series on TV, where they would have the competition of these Iron Chefs, and I think that it was in China somewhere, but no, they must have filmed it
No,
over
I
there.
think they filmed it in the US somewhere, but anyhow.
But I kind of got hooked on it. And recently I went out and bought a wok, and I started cooking some of these dishes. And it's just wonderful. And it's so easy to do. The work is in the prep. But
Yeah.
once you put it in there, and it's so easy to cook, and you can really do, like, you could do a wok full of vegetables. But one of my favorite dishes is beef in oyster sauce with green onion and ginger. It's to die for, and it tastes so good, right? And then, of course, I take that and I put it on a bed of rice, and then I'm lazy, so I use that 5 minute Uncle Ben's steam rice thing. It's so easy to make, and I put that on the plate, and I put the beef and oyster sauce on top, and oh, I can't talk about
Yeah, I know, you're making me hungry.
and the green onion. Don't forget the green onion.
Green onion, yeah, green onion. Well, I guess that sounds delicious, and I'm going back to a staple that I think Popeye had it right. Spinach. I'm having a
Oh,
love affair right.
oh,
I am having a love affair with spinach. I am adding it into my smoothies. I'm adding it into my stews. I'm adding it into my salads. I'm adding it everywhere I possibly can because this vegetable I found out is a real powerhouse. One, it's like so low in calories. Two, I got to read these. It's got vitamin K, A, C, folate, as well as a good source of manganese, magnesium, iron, and vitamin B2. And it's just one of those vegetables that you just kind of go, you got to eat it. It like, why would you not? I mean, it's got so many things, and you can slide it into meals, and it doesn't, even if you don't really like the taste of spinach, it kind of hides itself. Like I'll toss it into an omelet, and it's not like it's got that spinach taste to it, because it kind
Right.
of melts down and kind of molds to whatever the flavors are within your omelet. Or a smoothie, I'll drop a handful in, that sort of thing. I mean, they warn don't overeat it, but I can't imagine anybody really overeating spinach. But I mean, just in case. But I think it's one of those humble vegetables that is now so readily available, and we should all probably have a bag of it in our fridge and make sure that we actually use it.
No, no, that that was a smart comment to make about spinach. We're thinking the same way on so many different aspects of what food to eat. And what we're trying to do is eat more vegetables and have more salads and put spinach into it and other ingredients. And we're really focused on that now. So we're not eating so much carb. We're staying away from like potatoes and things like that. Even when I make rice, it's not a big batch. It's just a small batch because you need some in addition to the protein. But we're all being smart about it, and we're focused, and we know the long-term benefits of it. So yeah, it's all good. I agree with you, but I still like my pork chop.
Yeah. I like pork chops too, but we are actually also trying to cut out meat to a certain degree. Like we used to eat it like almost every day, and now we're down to maybe twice a week, three
Yeah.
times a week max. So I'm slowly trying to pull back because I've been reading a lot of research about plant-based nutrition and how it helps for longevity. Not quite there yet, but working my way towards that. And it's fun actually, because that's the thing about food. You can actually see what you can create, and it's almost becoming like a bit of a creative outlet for us.
That's
What
right.
can you do? You put a whole bunch of ingredients on the counter and see what you can make. Like the
Yeah.
other day, I just took some sweet potatoes and chickpeas and some coconut milk and turmeric and ginger and a little bit of cinnamon and stuck it all in a crock pot. And it was amazing to put that over top of rice. Bonus. So, I mean, it's
You're
this
getting out of my comfort zone here, Susan.
So anyways, I mean, I think it's a great creative outlet. I think there's so much research out there, and even more that's being discovered on how well and how much food really does affect how we age and our health. So to everybody out there, enjoy it. If you've got the time, stay away from the processed stuff. Go to the au naturel stuff and see what you can make, because it's a fabulous way to fill some time and also maybe get a little bit healthier in the process.
No, I agree. Totally agree with everything you said.
Hey, well, that's why I have you on. Okay, everybody. Well, that wraps up this month's segment of our Boomers Best. If you're interested in any more, please find them on our website. They're at boomingencore.com. And we hope you found this information interesting, and it helps you live your best booming encore. Bye for now, everyone.
Take care, everyone.
Thanks, Mike.